NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 KDUS Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix.
You're listening to the Lance J Radio Network on NBC Sports.
You're listening to the Paragon of Sports Talk Excellence, the Lance J Radio Network, coming to you live from NBC Sports Radio Studios, KDUS, in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. I am your host, James Lewis III. It is a pleasure to be with you once again on a Sunday evening. Shout out to my partner in crime, Miss Ray Black. She is actually literally in the Miss or Ms. Arizona pageant as we speak, so hopefully we'll get an update from her as the show continues. She's running for Miss Arizona. You can check her out on her Instagram page at Miss Ray Black. We have a really good show for you this evening. There's so many things that I want to talk about, and I don't have enough time. You look at what the Cavs did today in advancing and how much energy LeBron James had to put forth just to getting out of the first round. There's some serious drama in the world of sports talk radio in New York City that I want to address with the Pope, the GOAT, Mike Francesa, up at WFAN, who I'm a big fan of and have followed throughout my career. Also, you have the NFL draft for the individuals here in Phoenix that are listening. You have Josh Rosen, who is now donning the Arizona Cardinals uniform, the quarterback of the future. But I'm going to do something that I don't normally do. I usually don't start the show with an interview, but we have an individual on the line that I've been chasing for quite some time. Those that listen know that we're based in Philadelphia. We're rooted in Philadelphia. We've had this opportunity to be on the air in Phoenix, but we still have a lot of ties to the Philadelphia area. And how we made our bones as a show before ESPN put us on or NBC Sports Radio put us on, the first place that we were able to get on was through the R&B and hip-hop stations and build those relationships in Philadelphia. So we adapted a format to where we interviewed hip-hop artists and R&B artists and really start to build those relationships. Gilly the Kid's been on our show, legendary MC from Philly. Lauren Talese, legendary R&B singer. Spanky McCurdy. I mean, we've really had a lot of bangers coming in from Philly. A couple of weeks ago, Neef Buck from State Property and the Young Guns came on the show, and we were able to kind of parlay that relationship into a very special guest that's going to be joining us. You guys know him from his work with RocNation, Rockefeller Records. He had a stint where he was on Cash Money for a while. You remember his albums, Philadelphia Freeway. He has an album, Diamond in the Rough, and then another album, Free Will. This guy is an OG in the hip-hop industry, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to have Freeway repping Philadelphia on the show with me this evening. What's going on, man?
What's up, good brother? How you doing? How's everything?
I'm doing good. Thanks for doing the show, and thanks for just coming in at the top of the hour and try to get this thing knocked out.
No problem. It's all good, man.
So let me know what's going on in Philly right now. I mean, we had Neef come in just a couple of weeks ago. He was talking about how the city is lit. But with the Sixers, with the Sixers moving on to play Boston, like what's going on in Philly?
We're excited with the excitement, man. As you know, the city is pandemonium right now. You know, first the Eagles did their thing. You know, then Villanova pulled it off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only right that the Sixers we get that chip, man. You know, I had the pleasure of going to a couple of the home games, and the energy is just amazing in the city, man. Then Meek Mill just came home. So that added another element to the energy, and it's just a great time for Philadelphia. I got a new album dropping, so it's a wonderful time for the city.
Yo, how crazy was it when I was talking to one of my friends when Meek Mill came home, went directly, I believe he flew to the stadium in a chopper and rang the bell in that final game where the Sixers advanced. Like, how lit was it in the stadium that night?
I wasn't there that night because I had a show, but, you know, I was in correspondence with everybody, and it was lit. You hear me? Like, it was pandemonium in that joint. They had no choice but to win after that.
Absolutely.
You know?
How do you feel about their ability going up against Boston, pulling a second-round matchup? Boston is down with Kyrie, is hurt. Obviously, they're a depleted roster. However, Coach Stevens is considered to be one of the best coaches in the NBA, has been able to take that unit and advance. A lot of people didn't think that they were going to be able to get past the Greek Freak. How did people in Philly, how are y'all viewing that matchup versus Boston?
Man, listen, I feel as though we got it, man. You know, the guys are young, they're hungry, you know, and just the momentum that they've been having, and, man, they're like really a team, man. They really stick together, and I think they're going to pull it off.
No doubt. For those just tuning in, I'm on the phone with the one and only Freeway, representing RocNation, representing state property. Just curious, as we kind of shift the conversation, I always ask people when they come on the show, how did you get into the hip-hop industry? Like, what made you want to be an MC? Was it the lyricism? Was it the music? Was it the beats? How did you end up getting into your craft?
It was a combination of all those things. I always, like, even when I was younger, like 3rd and 4th grade, you know, I had a thing for music class and poetry. And, you know, it was just something that was in me from the beginning, man. I was 2 things that I wanted to be when I was in school. I wanted to be a rap star and an airline pilot. And now that, you know, I'm a rap star, I fly just as much as an airline pilot. So
no doubt.
Kind of killed 2 birds with one stone, man.
For those that are listening, and one of the things that we do is a little different. Not a lot of sports talk radio shows that really feature the hip-hop artists. For those that may not have heard your work that are listening around the country, tell us a little bit about your rap style. Obviously, I know about your style. I'm still bumping that Philadelphia Freeway. That All Right track is one of my favorite tracks. Like when I'm depressed, I just drive around the city playing that, and you know that everything's going to be good. But tell us a little bit about your style and kind of the way that you structure your rhymes.
My style is kind of unorthodox. You know, I'm from the era where we pride ourselves in being different. You know, so I always try to push myself to the limit and come up with different flow patterns. And my music is passionate. You know, it's a lot of heartfelt music. So that's the reason why a single like What We Do Is Wrong that I put out in 2003 still resonates to this day. I've just performed. I had a show with Styles P last night. Just performed it last night, and you know the people were going crazy like it just came out the day before. You know, so definitely a blessing.
What about, I'm just kind of also curious, you know, a lot of people that are listening, you being a part of state property, being a part of Rockefeller Records, RocNation, you've toured with some of the greatest ever to be in this industry, the Kanyes, the Jay-Z's, Beans, all of those guys that we know and love and respect. What was it like just being on the bus, being on the plane with these guys, performing with them? What has that been like throughout your career?
Man, it's magical, man. It's like feeling that when it was happening, I thought it would never end. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just amazing, man. It's just being in the mix of living your dream, man, is just wonderful, man. And I'm just happy to be able to still do it at this level. Like, you know, I just did a deal with RocNation for my next album. We're going to drop June 8th. It's called Think Free. And just to be back with the family and be able to get another shot to, you know, prove to the world how passionate I am about this music thing is definitely a blessing, man.
In Philadelphia, and for those, like I said, we're an interesting show, being that we're out on the West Coast, and the culture and hip-hop on the West Coast is different than the culture of hip-hop on the East Coast. Me being an East Coast guy and having ties to Philadelphia, a lot of people, my first introduction to you was actually through battle rap. Like, you can go back in the day and see a lot of guys from Philly just facing each other off, and that's something that's very common in Philly, New York, Boston, D.C. Tell my listeners a little bit about the battle rap concept and how individuals like yourself had to engage in that as you were moving up in the stage before you even signed a deal.
Yeah, battle rap was always part of the culture. Like summer times in Philadelphia, you know, we had like it's crazy how sports and music goes hand in hand, because
definitely we
would have like the summer leagues Like for people from Philadelphia, they know like 52nd and Parkside, 16th and Susquehanna, and like the summer leagues, the teams will be going up against each other, and like different local artists from the city would be on the sidelines battling. And I'm from a crew called Ice City, and we used to just go all around the city just battling people and putting our rep on the line. And that's how I came up. And early days of Rockefeller, people would come up there to try to get signed, and Jay would bring me in a room, and if they could get past me, they might have a chance to get a deal, and no one ever got past me, so.
No doubt.
It was that serious, and, that was dangerous for me, too, because somebody could came up there and smoked me.
Right.
Jay would have been looking at me like I'm crazy. So.
No, it's funny you kind of mentioned the street element, and Philly's produced so much talent. I mean, you have yourself, you have Beans, you have AR Ab, you have, I'm trying to think, you have The Roots. Obviously,
Gilly,
Will Smith, you got Gilly, you got Kaz. I mean, there's so many people coming out of Philadelphia.
Even this next generation, Meek,
definitely.
You got Kerr. You even got P&B Rock, even though he has a different style,
Mm-hmm.
But it all stems from the streets of Philadelphia, man. A lot of people doing their thing, man.
What makes the streets of Philly different than kind of the streets of any other city? USA. What makes Philly so different that's produced so much talent?
Oh, man, they say it's that Schuylkill punch. It's something in the water, man. That Schuylkill River. Yeah, but it's just like, Philly is so small, and, like, the blocks are so, like, you might be going through it with somebody that live 2 doors down from you. You can't avoid them. Like, it's just everything is so tight, and, it's everybody want to get out, everybody fighting to be on top, to be successful and take care of their family. So it's a lot of passion in the city.
No doubt, no doubt. Once again, for those listening, I'm talking to the one and only Freeway of RocNation. He has several projects that he's promoting, obviously chopping it up about the success of Philadelphia sports right now, with the Eagles being the reigning Super Bowl champions,
yes,
the
sir,
Villanova
yes,
Wildcats being the reigning NCAA champions,
yes,
and
sir.
also your 76ers trusting the process and looking like they're going to have a very good opportunity to advance to the East Coast, to the Eastern Conference Finals, or maybe
Most
beyond.
definitely.
One of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show, Freeway, I love your music, obviously, and my listeners love your music. But what you're doing in the community, I just find to be so dope and so inspirational. You had some setbacks with your personal health, and a lot of people that have had health issues are very quiet about their health, and they really kind of keep that on the low. You've been vocal about high blood pressure and diabetes and kidney health and all of those things. You've been out doing kidney walks. You're out promoting. I just want to give you a chance to kind of talk about some of those things that you're doing in the community, really just becoming an individual that's promoting health, not just an MC that can spit those bars.
Yeah, for those that don't know, in September 2015, I was diagnosed with end-stage renal failure, which is kidney failure. So I'm actually on a transplant list. Things are looking real good, so hopefully sometime soon I'm going to get a transplant. But my main reason for sharing my story with the world and for just putting it out there is just for the awareness, man. I was running around with 3 risk factors of kidney failure, and I was unaware of it. And the first risk factor is high blood pressure. The second risk factor is diabetes. And surprisingly, another risk factor is just being African American, And there's so many people that don't even know that, and it's just so important for me to spread the awareness, because if I would have known, I would have been able to slow down the process, and I might have been in better shape than I am now, So with my album, we have a documentary called Free Will that, covers my journey and my battle with kidney disease, man, and it's real informative. And I'm also the ambassador for the National Kidney Foundation. We have a kidney walk in Baltimore on May 6th. So we just spreading awareness, man, trying to help the people. It's just so important to keep up with your routine physicals. You at least need to see the doctor once a year, get blood work, because this is some of the things that I wasn't doing. I'm running around the world, touring, living my dream, eating whatever I want, drinking whatever I want, just living reckless, not paying too much attention to my health. And, you know, health is wealth.
Definitely. You can, and if anyone sees you like online, I mean, you've lost mad weight, you know, taking real good care of yourself. You talk about your diet and exercise routine. I mean, you look great. I work in the healthcare industry for my day job, and I've worked with people that are in end-stage renal and on dialysis and know some of the challenges that people can face. But you look like you're facing this like a champ, and it's good to hear that. It's good to hear that you're on the list to get a transplant. We'll definitely be keeping you in our thoughts and in our prayers on the Lance J Radio Network. Before we close, give us a kind of a synopsis. What projects, you said you have an album dropping, want you to repeat that. What other projects are you working on with some of the members for your team, rather State Property or Rockefeller or any other groups that you're involved with?
Yeah, so like I was telling y'all, I just did a new deal with RocNation. I have an album and a documentary dropping. The album drops June 8th, and the name of the album is Freeway, man. It's my first project back with RocNation. I'm real excited about it. You know, I've been through a lot in the past few years, and, you know, I'm the type of artist that puts my life and my reality into the music, so you're going to love the music. Got some crazy features on there. I got Faith Evans on there. I got Lil Uzi Vert. I got Lil Wayne on there. I got Tory Lanez on there. DJ the Chicago Kid, Jada Kiss. Like, the album is amazing, man. And like I was telling y'all about, the documentary is very informative. We just did a screening of it last week in New York, and it was a great turnout, and everybody loved it. You know, so I'm just looking forward to an exciting year.
No
you know,
doubt.
My Sixers about to pull it off, you know, to make it that trifecta. And, you know, it's going to be a wonderful year.
We'll be chopping with you later. I'm up against the break, man, but thanks for coming in. Shout out to you, and much respect with what you're doing, both lyrically and in the community.
Okay, appreciate the love, man. You have a good night.